two-parter, but I'm wondering about fourth downs. What's the reason, I guess, for your guys' success in fourth down? And when you guys are out there and you see them saying, stay out there, what's the confidence level like in this team right now on fourth down?
Definitely super high, and like that. I think the reason that we're having so much success, I wanna say, is just because we're like hungry to get that. We would hate to not convert that. Hate to hand it off to the field goal team or hand it off to the punt team after we've worked so hard to get there. So we always just get in the hunger and say, hey, we got to finish this thing. Got to be hungry. We're like hungry for blood is what we say. Like because those are the meaty downs. So I think it's just. Yeah, we've worked so hard and we're gonna get it. And the confidence when they throw us back out on the field is an all-time high. We got Genty behind us. We got a bunch of tight ends who are willing to throw everything in there, including body parts that aren't doing so well. So the confidence is super high.
And I know it's kind of an obvious thing, but I mean, how big of a game changer can a fourth down conversion or stop be on either side of the ball?
It's definitely a big sway in momentum. Football is a game of momentum. So getting stuffed on fourth down hurts your confidence. You get sent off the field. It's basically a turnover. So definitely, and if you get it, then the defense. It's a huge hurt, huge nail or huge thorn in their side because they got to stay out there and they got to battle some more, and they thought they were about to be done. So it's a big momentum change.
Ben, how do you feel like your kind of role is, whether it be on the team or
Yeah.
the offensive line? How do you think you're kind of viewed, I guess?
As a 6-year guy, I'm definitely looked at like as a leader in my room, and we have a couple older guys in our room, and so I view myself as definitely a leader in the O-line room and on this team. I've been in this culture, been in this program for a long time. I kind of know what that standard is, and I think it's just a lot on those older guys and me too to like just live that standard, and to kind of give an example to those younger guys what that looks like, because a lot of them come in, they don't know what that looks like. So that's just what I try to do every day, and obviously being 6 years in the O-line, you get some tips and tricks for some tricky blocks out there. So I give some tips and tricks to younger guys, and yeah, I think that's kind of it.
I don't know if gosh, I might use the wrong word here. I don't know if cranky is the right word. It just doesn't seem like you have any time for wasted time, I guess is what I mean.
Yeah, there are definitely some 6-year seniors that kind of just. Garrett Kerman was a great example of that. He was always he had a little edge to him. He's always a little cranky. He was always just a little pissed off, but the right amount. It was under control most of the time, and that gave him an edge for practice. But I've never really found myself like that. I don't really like to be like that. I'm generally a happy, positive guy, and I can flip the switch on the field for sure. But yeah, I love being out there with my teammates, and doesn't really piss me off at all.
Yeah. Talking with whether it be Roger or Cage, I mean, they just bring you up so naturally, and some of the little things you teach them, like the notebooks, and don't worry about solving all 100 pages at a practice. Just write down 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
So where does that come from for you, and how important is that focus? How much do you love sharing that with the young guys?
Yeah. Like I said, I think that's my role as kind of like the older guy, and I've just kind of picked a lot of that up from this place, man. Like they're always trying to teach you something, and if you're willing to hear it, then and absorb it, then you can kind of pass it on to someone else. And so I give a lot of that to my mentors, like Coach D, Coach Keen, Coach Potter, all of them. They're dropping all of this information on us all the time, and the young guys just don't have the RAM, I guess, to really take it all in and know what it means. They're just kind of just trying to get by a little bit most of the time. They're just trying to figure it out. And so as a older guy, I like to be the guy who can, know the reason why and try to impart that on the younger guys instead of just telling them what to do and having them do it because I told them to do it.
So in that room, who's the best listener? Who's the guy that looks at Ben Dooley and is like
the best listener?
Yeah,
that's a good question. We had some good listeners in that room. I think the best one is I think me and Cage just have a lot of chemistry, and I would like to think he respects me a lot, and I respect him a lot. And so whenever I tell him to do something or he tells me to do something, it's I know it's never hey, you're bad at this, let's fix this. It's hey, I want to be better at this with you. If it's doubles, if it's pass pro, on that side of the ball, it's hey, we're figuring this out together. It's me and you figuring this out, not me versus you kind of thing. So I do think we got a good relationship.
What do you think about the presence that you have too? I guess like I don't know, on the highlights and stuff. Typically guards don't get a ton of attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it still feels like you have a presence with this offensive line. It feels like to me. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but that's what it feels like to me as an observer.
Yeah, I definitely don't ever try to notice it. I think I can feel a little bit. I think that's just because of the time I put in here and the work that I put in here. Like I get looked at a lot and eyes on me and stuff. But as an O-line, you never really like want that or need that to perform. You know, I want everyone to be looking at us five as a unit rather than just me. So yeah, I think it's just that O-line mentality where I'm not really worried about it. Just kind of wanting to do my work in the dark.
What about your quarterback? You know, and everybody, fans, whatever, they always at preseason fall camp have their guy, or they want this guy, that guy. I mean, just he continues to win, continues to make tough plays, big plays. I know it's not always perfect, but just with what Maddox brings to this offense right now and kind of shutting up some of the doubters, what do you think of his play?
Yeah, I love Maddox. I've loved Maddox forever, and it's always been super funny to me that he's like not a super tall guy, and he's got like giants in front of him, and I've never seen him miss a window. Like he might like throw like an average ball or whatever, he'll miss the throw or whatever, but he like his vision down the field has always like just impressed me so much. Like, and his pocket presence, love a quarterback who can navigate a pocket, makes us look really good, makes our job easy. So I've always loved and respect Maddox. I think he's finally just showing, what he was the whole time, working in the dark, working in fall camp, when no one was watching, and now everyone's watching. And they're like, oh, where did he come from? Like, I know where he came from, but now you guys get to see it.
Yeah, and maybe from a physical stature standpoint, he's not the 6'5", whatever, like you said, but
Mm-hmm.
he, not turning the ball over, not taking sacks, like a lot of these key winning plays he continues to make.
Yeah, love it. I mean, it's super great for our offense. I mean, and like to have a quarterback like that, it just gives you that much more confidence in an O-line to be like, oh, if I can just block for like half a second more, he'll get this ball off, or he'll scramble out of the pocket. I just got to sustain this thing for a little bit more, rather than a quarterback who will hold on to it, he'll go down easy, he'll turn the ball over. I think he instills that confidence, and I would like to think that we in return do that to him.
When you say like pocket presence and stuff, like what does that mean, or what does that entail? Like, I know this is I'm not trying to compare him to maybe the best to ever do it, but Kellen would just slide and make these small little moves and things like that, and then get rid of the ball, and he never got sacked. And like, I don't think, and I'm not trying to compare, but in terms of getting the ball out, pocket presence, not taking sacks, I don't know if Boise State's had a guy since 11 that's done it as good as Maddox.
Yeah, I think, it's just like you said, it's those small movements. A lot of quarterbacks, if they get that dashboard in their face, they freak out. They'll roll really hard. They'll roll into pressure a lot of the time. They'll make not smart decisions with the ball because they're just kind of panicking. But to have that almost calmness about you, to just take half a step up, let the DN go around you, make the pass that you're supposed to make, it's like, it speaks a lot to his confidence. It speaks a lot to the confidence he has in his team. And that's hard to make. That's all about the connection, I think, that we have with this team, the trust that we have with this team, and it's super important. And I think a lot of people think that that's hard to see out there. It's hard to see trust, but I think that's a great example of what that looks like. That's trust in your line. That's trust in your quarterback right there.
Not to look, I don't want to look ahead too much, but I just don't know if we're gonna get you next week, man. Does playing Nevada mean anything more to you still these days?
Not really. It's never really been a rivalry for me. I know a bunch of my family will come out because we got a bunch of UNR supporters out there, but I think I've converted most of them to BSU, so it's big for the program.
Are you getting to the point where this gets a little emotional at all, knowing that the time's really starting to tick down on your career, despite the fact how long you've been here?
Yeah. In this game, in college especially, it's just everything's happening so fast. You almost don't have a lot of time to look forward, and that's one of our things, just is to be present and to be grounded. And so it's hard to look that far in the future, but it's always in the back of my mind, like, this is my last season, this is my last hoorah, this is my last homage to this place or whatever. And yeah, it'll get to me sometimes, but then I try to remember just, hey, like, take advantage of the time you have now. That's all I can do.
I was gonna say, what does Ben Dooley need to make sure that he does this next 6 weeks to make sure that you leave this the way that you want it to be left?
We always just say, like, prepare like you want to have no regrets. And so I'll just do everything that I can to play the best that I can. And not for myself, or not because I want to leave a legacy. I want the Dooley name to be remembered, but because I love my teammates and I want them to have the season, and I want to be a part of that. And I don't want to let them down. So I'll work as hard as I can and prepare what I have to do to make that happen.
Was this journey worth it for you? I mean, you've been through some stuff since
Oh
you've
yeah,
been here.
yeah. I would do it time and time again. I wouldn't do it any other way, if I'm being honest. All the things that I went through taught me a lot of things. You know, you often learn a lot more from failure than you do success. And I've had a lot of failures in this place, but that's it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot to be ready for not only for football but for life as well. And I think that I'll make a great man and I'll make a great husband because of this place.
What goes through your mind when you line up? All that or none of that, or like, you know, just the opportunity to play on a Saturday?
When I what?
What goes through your mind is the opportunity to play on a Saturday and line up once more?
Not a lot. It's just go to work. You know, I think that's the whole line in me. It's just time to go to work, time to put the hard hat on and do what nobody wants to do.
Sweet. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, man.